Okay, wow, we have 80-something participants. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon to all of you. I am going to commence this session now. First of all, just like to give thanks to my colleagues Ivan and Yiting on the other side of the fence, helping me to host these events. They will be helping me with any questions that you might have. If you have any issues in terms of video quality or even sound quality, you can use the chat option to let my colleagues know, and they will see how they can assist you. If you do have any questions, you can use the Q&A function, capture your questions there. We will reserve some time at the end of the session to address them. All right, so without further ado, I just want to take this opportunity to run a very quick poll with everyone. So the first poll I just want to do today is for all of us that are on the call, on a typical month, how many claims would you be processing on average? So let's take about a minute or two to put in your answers. So we have three options: less than 10, less than 50, or more than 50 claims that you are processing on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so let's close this poll. Let's take a look at what are the results. Wow, so we have more than 50% of the audience, here with more than or less than 50 claims that you're processing every month. A very small percentage of the audience is actually managing more than 50 claims month to month. But this leads me to my next slide. Yes. So if you can imagine, before this circuit breaker was taking effect, typically most of us will wait till the end of the month, consolidate, or the end of the monthly cutoff for us to consolidate all our receipts, generate our report or put on a report to do our submissions. But what happens if we actually do an overclaim or underclaim, or I missed that one receipt for that month, right? As administrators or people that process claims, we are in this endless back-to-back with back and forth with the staff just to be able to verify, to validate, and then reimburse their claims, and then we fall into the next month, and then it's repeat all over again. So this can be a very challenging and painful process, and we're still in this current situation. It is made even more difficult in terms of having to do this consolidation, especially if you are managing things manually. So let's do our second poll. For the audience that are attending today, right, what are three of the most common expenses that you are currently managing? So based on the list that is here, we actually have things like medical and dental, travel, typically transportation, your mobile plans, meals and entertainment, and even to some extent office expenses. I'll give you guys another 10 seconds. Cool. Let's take a look at the results. Wow. So I would say that a majority of the attendees here today are managing mainly transport claims or transport expenses. There is a small percentage of people that are doing office expenses. And I would say that on average, we even have a percentage of people that are doing medical and dental claims. Now for medical and dental, if you are already a JustLogin customer, that's a whole nother conversation in terms of setting out certain limitations on the claims. But I just wanted to throw in that area if that happens to be sort of a benefit. We do have another module called benefits, and we can take that up as a separate topic in another session. But it's very obvious that majority of the people on the call today are managing things like travel, transport claims, and even to some extent meals and office expenses. Good. So that leads us to where we are at in this current situation. How many of you feel like me, like this from home? And the reason is this. The current situation has actually forced a lot of businesses of every size, big or small in any industry to really take a hard look at going digital. Digital in every aspect. You know, for example, even our online meetings. In a typical scenario, we would have organized a session where we can meet up live to have more interactions. But we are being forced because of this situation to really go digital. I actually have an example of a client in terms of managing claims. They were very manual and paper-based. And because of this current situation in the last 6 months, as an administrator, they don't have the ability to reimburse their employees because the approval process is manual. The collection of the submission of the claims or the expenses is all done manually. The boss or the single approver is sitting or from home, and they need to physically review or approve all these manual claims. So because of that, their staff have not been able to get reimbursed for some of their claims, or they have to make certain exceptions to provide some certain allowances. So it can be a tedious process, but at the end of the day, all that paperwork is waiting for you when you finally get back to the office. So before I give you a demo, just another poll. What is the average amount that your staff is claiming every month? So we have 3 options. On average, less than 50, on average, less than 100, or typically more than $100. So for this, I'll give you another 5 seconds to put in your responses. Fantastic. So we have a majority of the participants here that are managing your claims, which is more than $100. So that must be a combination of claims or a very specific claim type. So let's take a look at the different options that are available in terms of your organization, or finding the right fit for your organization. I've actually tried to, in today's session, to break it into 3 very specific areas. One, if you are, like the example I stated earlier, managing forms manually or very paper-based, the scenario that you would be managing it is that if you have a single level of approval, which means your staff go to typically just finance with their claims, that entire process of review and reimbursement and approval is done through one single source. You don't really have many different kinds of expenses. You probably only have one expense that you would reimburse, whether it is a transport or whether it is a medical kind of a claim. You don't have a requirement, or you don't scrutinize on having the need to go through receipts. You typically would require them to fill out a paper form to indicate their amount, or the employees already have or know a very specific amount that they need to submit within. And you don't do any electronic reimbursements, which means that you either pay directly in cash or you pay directly through checks for such kind of claims. I'm going to take 1 second and pause just to take a quick look at the chat. Okay, so for the participants that are on the call, if you do have questions, please utilize the Q&A feature within this meeting to indicate your questions. We will reserve some time later to try and address those questions, yeah? Okay, that's good. So, so this is sort of one of the options that you currently have. The other second options is for some of us, or the majority of us, who are already using forms. What would be the scenario that you will be using forms? You would typically have very different approval processes for very different kind of forms. For example, if you're going to do traveling, you may require multiple levels of approval through your direct manager, through your department head, through your finance, before you can get that claim approved, and then before you can do that reimbursement of the claim. But if, let's say, for example, you are doing a submission for your transport claim, it may only require one route for approval, which is your manager, and directly reimbursed through finance. So with forms, the beauty of forms allows you to create multiple or different approval flows for different kind of forms. the typical use case is that you don't want it to be a submission through mobile. You would like your users to all be submitting their claims, submitting or uploading their receipts, everything through a web sort of experience or web application, and you don't have a requirement for them to use a mobile device. It is also integrated with our payroll solution, which allows for electronic or direct electronic reimbursements. The challenge that we have found with forms, I would say, is that typically with forms, it requires, we do have a standard library of forms that customers can use, but at the same time, with the likes of Ikano, who has a very specific process, a very specific flow, a fixed kind of a form that the users or the employees are required to fill up. In scenarios like that, it is a highly customized one specific process or fixed process kind of a scenario. So forms kind of make sense for situations like this. What we have found when we speak with more of our customers today is that most of the customers' business needs would change, right? And they want something that is a lot more dynamic, a lot more mobile centric, and a lot more flat in terms of how the approval process is done. And they don't need all these extensive bells and whistles of customization for them to do a claim. So what we've done is literally this module called JustExpense. JustExpense, it has been developed through customer feedback, and essentially what we've done is the expense is a specific mobile application which allows for receipt scanning, submission and approval of expenses, everything through one mobile application. As an administrator, we have created a dashboard which allows you to then review, run your reports, and then move all those expenses to be reimbursed directly to payroll for payout. So everything is integrated with payroll for electronic reimbursements. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the expense demo. So as you can see here on the mobile device, we have a module which is called JustExpense. And it's an application specifically for expense management. So I'm logging in as Henry. He will be the person that will be submitting a claim. I actually have a receipt on standby. So what I'm going to do is, let me just first create a report. Create a new report called April for today and save it. And then the new report has been created called April. Now what I can do is I can add an expense, and I can start to take a photo, and I can scan the receipt. Okay. Cool. So as you can see, after taking the photo of the receipt, it's able to scan and record the amount. Okay. So here we can edit the expense further. We can put it as office supplies. We can add in a description. And you can see or verify the receipt as well. And then you can save it. So you can add to the report. April. So now when you go to your reports, you can then, as a user, do the submission of this report. So here, what we talked about earlier was that the roles, the approval are done specific by roles. And as an approver, Andrew has been assigned as my approver. So I'm going to submit direct to Andrew. So this has been submitted. The user also has the ability to do a recall, which means that if they make a mistake, they want to do a further edit, they can recall that expense report, make the changes, and then resubmit again, right? It doesn't go through an approval if the user does a recall. So let me just log out and log in as Andrew. So as an approver or manager, Andrew is able to see all the different expenses that have been unrecorded. He can also see the reports that have been submitted for his approval. Let me just do a quick refresh. So when you go to approvals, you can see the $31 amount submitted through Henry has come in. He can then view the expense if he wants to verify, and then he can do the direct approval. So Henry plays two roles in the organization. Not only is he the approver for, Andrew, two roles. Not only is he the approver for Henry, he's also the reimbursement officer for the organization. So let me just show you how the console looks like. Okay, nice, cool. So as you can see, Andrew has logged in as the reimbursement officer. Let me just walk you through exactly how the expense module looks like. As an administrator, you will have access to not only the dashboard and claims, you will have the administration, configuration, and reports. As a normal user on the web browser, they only have access to dashboard and claims. So let me just walk you through first in terms of administration. So in terms of administration wise, you can see it's very easy for you to do the setup of the approval process for your users. These are all the users that have access to my expense module. They are an expense user. This is how I can add them to expense quickly. I can then now set the approval process for this particular person. So you can see I can set their role, I can set their email, I can set who is their eventual approver within the expense module, right? So let me just go back here. So also at the same time, right, you can see this is multi-level approval. So for Ethan, you have something which is like the approver for Ethan is Charles. This is the first level approval. The second level of approval is Andrew. So eventually, when Ethan submits a claim, Charles will do the first level of approval. Then it requires Andrew to also do an approval before it can go for reimbursement back to the staff. We can also set multiple kinds of roles. So you can design a role which is a reimbursement officer, which means that any claims coming in through anywhere in the organization, you are able to reimburse on behalf of the entire organization. Alternatively, you can also set specific roles where you can choose different functions where you want them to be able to approve for staff that are directly reporting to them, assigned and directly reporting to them. If you uncheck, it means that the person approves for every single person coming in with a claim. You can also allow them to restrict seeing a company report, approving a company report, being able to reimburse that particular staff. Cool. So those are how you set up the roles. In terms of configuration, a few things that I just want to point out to you is that you can set different currencies. We have designed it to pull the exchange rates directly from a website. So this is dynamically changing. And eventually what it means is that at the point of submission, it will just read the exchange rate there and then for the staff to do their submission and capture accordingly. So you can allow for it, you can set your own exchange rate, you can allow your users to also edit their exchange rate in the event that they may be submitting claims of a different exchange rate via a credit card. So these are different areas or circumstances where you may allow for this. And then, of course, you can create as many different exchange rates as you like. Categories refer to the different expense types. We've also made it easy for you to link to your pay elements that you have created. And of course, through the pay elements wise, it's also integrated to your accounting softwares like Xero or QuickBooks. So if it's already integrated through payroll, your accounting software is already integrated to payroll, and then this is just where you add these different expense types to that account code within payroll. And of course, this also allows you to then do the ability to transfer these amounts to payroll. And of course, in terms of the preferences, when a staff is submitting expense or a report, you would require them to include a description. You want it to be mandatory that they indicate the merchant, or do you want it to be mandatory where they indicate the location? These are all options that you can put here. The good thing about this is that later I will highlight another feature called ideas.justlogin.com. If you do feel that there are things that to be added, you can actually put in your suggestions for us to review and see how we can add it to this module as well. In terms of report preferences wise, again, you can put it whether it's a required or enabled field or mandatory field. And for taxes, if you have staff that are submitting tax to different other countries, you can put in the different tax codes or the tax rates accordingly here. Then they can choose when they're doing that submission as well. The last thing I just want to highlight is from a reporting standpoint, you can pull out your expenses in terms of reports based on specific users, or you can base on, this is pulling a report based on all those that I have the ability to approve, or I can do a summary based on the different category types or by individual employee. Yeah. So let me just also quickly show you the dashboard for the individuals. So as an individuals, here you can also quickly add your expenses. You can also add a new report. And this is what the users will be able to create a new report with the dates, categorize, and actually include all of their different claims. Yeah. And for the claims itself, you can add your expense, or you can even do a bulk upload. So you can add all your different categories, and then you can attach all your different receipts through your desktop over here directly to the web application. Okay, so with that, that's what I have for the expense module run through. I'm around about 37 minutes right now, so I have about another 15 minutes or so with you. Let me just do a quick toggle back to my presentation. Okay, so I'm now just going to run 2 more surveys. These 2 surveys will help us with our follow-up process in terms of how and what to engage you after this webinar. So the first survey is for us to get a sense of which do you feel from this sharing session is the right solution fit for you. Do you feel like you would still prefer to use manual forms, or do you feel like the Just Forms modules is something that you would prefer to stick with, or the expense module is something that you want to explore further? Thank you for filling up those details. It will help us in our follow-up process with you post this webinar. The second thing that I want to share with everyone is actually this offer. One of the things that we want to share, or we appreciate the feedback, the support, and also the continued support of JustLogin with all of you. And for all our customers, we wanted to make sure that you have this opportunity to get a free usage or trial experience for the expense module. So this is an opportunity for you to register your interest as well. Would you like to have this free trial experience for the Just Expense module? I'll get the poll up first for you guys to fill in your interests. And while you're taking your time to fill up your interest now, I'll just share with you what are the conditions or how we'll go about helping you. Once you have registered your interest, our colleagues will definitely, my colleagues will definitely reach out to you to arrange a time just to understand more of your requirements. But specific for the trial experience, a member from my customer experience team will be reaching out to you, enabling this particular module for you to go through. We will also be pushing you to a free training for the expense module. Similarly, like what we set up earlier, how to do the setup, how to do the assignment of the users. So with that training, hopefully you're better equipped to use the expense module. And then following which, you can try it out with some of your users. And if you're happy at the end of the 3-month term, we can then see if you want to pick up this module as well. Good. So let's close this survey. And before I move to Q&A, I'm taking the opportunity this year through all our virtual sessions to introduce something called ideas.justlogin.com. For the customers that have been with us for more than 2 to 3 years, thank you very much for using this particular portal called ideas.justlogin.com. It is something that we have really tried to pay close attention in terms of product development, and it is this portal was really one of the channels that we use to develop the Just Expense solution that you saw earlier on. So I want to encourage all of you, if you have any experience, any suggestion, any kind of reports, features, anything that you would like to see develop on JustLogin, please use ideas.justlogin.com to put in your ideas. Funny enough, my CEO is the one that actually does the review of these ideas. So we definitely, as a team, we really pay close attention to the suggestions and feedback that is coming in. So I just want to reiterate that this is a very unique and good channel for you to raise your issues and feedback, and it's something that we will take very seriously in terms of product development. Good. I have about 4 minutes left. And we are going to do a breakout now for our Q&A session. I am going to look at the Q&A, the questions that have been coming in. I think that in this during this time, I'll try my best to answer as much as possible. So let me see how many. Wow, I have a lot of questions from Elaine. So let me just try and sit through. What are the? I'm going to answer this live. Are we able to use 2 different exchange rates for one single claim? The answer is yes. You can use a different exchange rate within a single claim. As long as the exchange rate is available, then they can set the exchange rate. That means in one report, 2 different exchange rates, right? So yes. The second question is, if you have further questions, channel to the Q&A, all right? The second question is additional charges, if any, for the app? Will it be a different app, not integrated to the desktop version? Yes, so for if you're already using the JustLogin application, the mobile application, this Just Expense application is a separate, just like your GrabFood, is actually a separate application specifically for expense management. Will it be? Yes, it's a different app. Is it integrated to the desktop version? As you saw earlier, yes, it is integrated with the desktop version that you are already using. The next question from Kathy Chan: what is the difference between Just Form and Just Expense? I hope that I was able to kind of show you earlier. In essence, Just Expense, it is a single form, which means that the configuration is more around the role of the user, the type of expenses, and the different categories of expenses. But it is a single form when they're submitting those reports. We can't do any special design when they're doing that submission. With the previous Just Forms module, you have different variation, look and feel of the different form types. So that is the key difference that is there. But the other major difference is that with the different forms in Just Forms, then basically you can set a different approval process for a different form. in the Just Expense, it is by the user. So if Kathy, you are my approver, you will forever be my approver for any expense that I'm submitting. Yes. The second one from the next one from Alan Ng. If we subscribe to this Just Expense, how much does it cost per month? I think that it's comfortable for me to share that the cost for the expense module is $5 listed price per user per month. If you are interested and you've indicated your interest, one of my account managers will share more details in terms of a commercial conversation with you. And then the next one is also Pui Ling To. I would like to check if we can have multi-currency expenses. How can we use this just to indicate a daily rate to convert to SGD? Okay, we don't have a daily rate per se. Multi-currency, yes. Daily rate, perhaps we may need to take this offline. But as you can see earlier, right? Similarly to forms, you can set a rate based on a period. But I think as of now, we need to clarify what you mean by daily rate. Let me see. Elaine Cool. Duncan submitted one receipt and it went for approval. What happens when we have to claim 20 items? Do we submit 20 times or once? So Elaine, thank you. Basically, you just need to create one report, Elaine. In that one report, you can then put in all your 20 claims for submission. When it goes to the approver, it is one approval for the 20 claims. That means your approval needs to go through the 20 claims, whether it's reviewing of the receipt or reviewing of the actual amount. Yeah. The next one is from Rosa Key. If it's not to replace forms, will there be additional charges to get this on board? So Rosa, I think that as a first step, perhaps you may want to try it out first. If you prefer the expense module to the forms module, I'm sure that we can work out some commercial terms, to assist in terms of that transition. But there are additional, these are two separate products. Forms will be one product, expense will be another product, right? So two different charges. And then Sarah Majestic, we will need e-forms and Just Expense. I think depending on the business case that you have specifically, we can make a judgment call whether you need both forms and expenses, or whether it is the right time to move to a pure expense mobile-centric solution. So I think that we can address with you offline as well. Let me just answer this one. Sachiko, for expense, do the approval need to be one by one, or can it be approved one shot in e-form? So I think we've answered that question. Yes, in one report, all the receipts can be, or claims or line items can be added in that one report. Then check. Are we another one from Elaine? Are we able to continue to use our claims from customized? Sorry, Elaine. No, Elaine. For your customized forms, it will remain in the Just Forms module. The short answer to this is because the two different products are sitting on two different platforms. Forms is a much more older platform, and Expense is built on a new set of technologies. As of this point, there isn't this transition path where we're going to merge these products into one. I think we've made a conscious decision to keep the expense module something very mobile centric, and for the forms module, because it's highly customized, we have a lot of customers with these highly customized forms. We need to reevaluate how we want to do this migration for this set of users. So I think, Elaine, based on the use case, we need to take a stand whether are there any specific expenses that you may want another group or users or more users to be using the mobile solution to do their submission of the claim versus the current form format. So we can also take this offline as a conversation to see how we can do that transition for you if required. And then Daniel, do you consider to combine benefit and Just Expenses together? That's a good question, Daniel. So as of now, the Just Benefit module is something that will be a standalone, similarly to the Just Forms module. But like we discussed earlier, you can put in all these suggestions in terms of setting certain limitations by expense type within Just Expense, so that we can build out that module itself. So it is something that we are open to as a suggestion for feature enhancement. The other one I'm going to move on to is Chims, how about using company exchange rate instead? Yes, Chims, you can set your own exchange rate, but this will not be pulling dynamically off a website. So you can set it in advance. Kathleen, if you're not integrated with payroll function, can we still customize our own, sorry, Kathleen, can we still customize our own account codes? Customize our own account codes, generate a report with these account codes? Answer is yes, Kathleen, you can. You can do that as well. Gavin McIntyre, what happens when expense items are rejected, dropped out from the total reimbursement? So if the expense items are rejected, it can be rejected with comments for the person to resubmit one more time. So similarly, like how the user can recall, when a rejection is done, it can be rejected with comments, so the person can make the necessary amendments, removal of a specific item, and then do the resubmission one more time. Timothy Tay, hi, I came late just now, 3:10. I've already applied expense module, but when will it be ready for launch on the desktop? Timothy, as of now, the module is in the final stages of the testing. Today's session is to announce the official launch of it. We will follow up with you separately, Timothy, to commence the implementation for the expense module. It is available on your desktop already. Yeah, once the module has been activated for you. So there are many more questions coming in. I'm just going to make sure I don't really want to pick and choose. I want to answer as many as I can. So please be patient with me while I get to your question. Minachi, so can we sync the claims data into QuickBooks by each staff as well as by account codes? The short answer is this will be through payroll, QuickBooks by account codes. Each staff, no, it's by account codes only, which is a pay element type. Yeah, and then Hui Link again. Will there be a notification sent to approval after the staff submits a claim? Yes. You similarly, if you have this, if you're already using the Just Mobile, the new mobile application, you have this red dot icon when there's a notification to approve leave or your payslip has been released. The same thing will happen if you're an approver or you are submitting when your claim has been approved, or when there's a claim for you to approve, you will get that notification icon within your mobile application so that you can do the approval on the fly. Cheng Ni, can we have a capped amount for, I think Cheng Ni we've already addressed. Answer for this is no. Not at this point. Again, suggest that you put it in ideas.justlogin.com. This will be something that the more people that vote on this, it is something that we will definitely see how we can address through further development. Priscilla, how do you submit mileage travel in Just Expense? Good question, Priscilla. At this point in time for mileage travel, that feature is not available yet. It will be coming out within the month of May. It is on roadmap to include the mileage amount within the month of May. So that particular feature not yet available. Cecilia, again, understand the claim will be consolidated in one form. Will the receipt be able to put into one file as well? It will be tough to approve. Cecilia, yes. Will the receipts be able to put in one file as well? Yes, Cecilia, it is in one file for the receipts. Sally, can we set limit to certain exchange? So again, Sally, this is the same as capping. I would suggest you use ideas.justlogin.com. This is something that we are definitely considering for the expense module. Elaine, if we swap over from eForm to what will happen to the claims we submitted, especially the receipts we submitted to the cloud? Good question, Elaine. We will definitely evaluate with you based on the historical data that is there, then we'll make a conscious decision in terms of what is the best transition path to move ahead. And then I have one last question from Susan Low. Must the claim reimburse through payroll only, or can it allow user to upload claims and come? Yes, Susan, the answer is yes. You can actually allow the users to, you can then use it to pay in cash as well. So yes. I need water. With that, okay, we have one more question from Kathy. Is there a side-by-side display which shows the claim amount and receipt for approval to verify easily? That's a good suggestion, Kathy. I also, if you can put this in ideas.justlogin.com, it's something that we can also review. Good. I'm going to take the last 2 minutes to thank everybody for being on this call. Once again, thank you, my colleagues, Ivan and Yi-Ting, for helping me to manage this virtual session. I hope that for the 84 participants still on the webinar, you have found this session useful. And I hope that if, let's say, for example, you did not get a chance to register your interest through the 2 last surveys that we did earlier, you can definitely drop an email to sales@justlogin.com. And then from there, we'll be able to see how we can assist you in terms of making sure that we enable a free trial or have any commercial conversations. For my other friends who I may have missed your questions, or if we have said to park aside, at the end of this session, we will be sharing some notes, and we'll be sharing some of these some follow-ups with you. My email will also be there. So if, let's say, for example, we do not come back to you with an answer, please reach out to me directly. For the benefit of those that are still on the call, my email is duncan@justlogin.com. Okay, cool. If not, I want to thank you once again for being on this call. I hope all of you are staying safe, and I hope all of you have a lovely evening ahead. So hashtag SG United. Thanks so much for being on the call, everybody. Have a good day ahead.